Yo, yo, yo. What's going on? What's up, y'all? Give me 1 second. I'm trying to pull some stuff up here, trying to make sure that we are live and that everything is a go. Hey, what's up, Dash? Jumbo Chicken was good. Rick Nash was good. Yeah, we're going to talk about specs and all that good stuff, man. Let me just make sure everything is good with the stream. So give me 1 second. Stream is looking good. All right. And let me grab one more thing here. We're gonna go ahead and get started. There we go. Live control room. There we go. Man, I felt like I ain't talked to y'all in a minute. How's everybody doing? Hit me down in the chat. Let me know how the stream is looking. I just want to make sure that my audio is good, and hope y'all like that. I don't know if y'all fans of Dragon Ball, but I hope y'all like that Goku background, that wallpaper, man. It took me a minute to find that wallpaper. All right, we're gonna get started in 1 more second here. One more thing. Okay. It's time to go ahead and get things rocking. Man, okay, audio is great. Stream quality is also great. Man, that sounds good. So we're streaming 1080p. Definitely want to get it something a little bit more high resolution. So man, let's go ahead and get things kicking, man. I feel like I ain't talked to y'all in a minute. First things first, I definitely want to talk about this COPPA thing. There's a reason why I haven't been posting in the videos and stuff lately, and that's just because if you haven't heard about COPPA, it's the child protection, whatever it is. I'm not going to talk long about it. Maybe probably about 15 to 20 seconds. Basically, there's a lot that's going on with YouTube and the law with the FTC that was implemented a long time ago. They're getting ready to start enforcing that law come January the 1st. And so if you have a lot of YouTubers, a lot of content creators that are making videos just for kids, there's a lot basically behind the scenes that YouTubers and content creators going to have to do in terms of identifying those videos are for kids, not for kids. If people are making kid content, the COPPA law itself states that, you can't be collecting information from kids that's under 13. And as far as like targeted ads and collecting information and stuff like that. So what they're going to be doing is start enforcing fines and stuff like that. And I was trying to make sure that none of the videos, now my channel is not geared towards kids. I don't make content for kids. I know sometimes, kids may run across it, but my content is definitely made for tech people, basically, with, building computers, reviewing electronics and all that different type of stuff. So one of the main things I was thinking about was some of my gaming content, but most of the games that I do is definitely rated for teens and above. So I think I'm going to be pretty much straight. I basically said that all of my videos are not made for kids. So, hopefully I don't fall into, those fines. I'm not going to let that hold me back or stop me from doing the content on the channel. So I was just trying to get that figured out over the past couple of weeks. And then we had the holidays coming up, spending some time with the family, stuff like that. But we are back on track. I hope you had a chance to check out my last AMD build, the 3600X. If you haven't had a chance to check that out yet, let's see. Where is it at? Okay, here we go. So if you haven't had a chance to check out my last build, and you can either hit it from here or you could click on just more and hit up here. This was a significant build because it was definitely a $900 gaming PC build, 3600X 1660 Ti. And man, I got a lot of feedback back on that and a lot of people liked it. But I sold this PC to a good friend. I can't go into detail about it yet because it's a surprise. And yeah, that's the first I'm be able to go into that. So I sold this computer, and so what that means is I have to build another one because I was actually going to be using that computer. I just got my motherboard in today, and if you've seen the thumbnail, I got the, we're getting ready to, now on this new build that we're doing, I'm pretty much I'm not going all the way out like I did on Knight Rider, but I'm going out there. I'm definitely, we're going to talk about the actual parts and all this stuff tonight. This is not going to be a long video, but I definitely wanted to make sure we talked about a couple of good things. But first things first, definitely if you want to support the channel, don't forget to share this video, hit like, subscribe, hit the bell so you receive all my notifications. Share me on social media. That helps with the YouTube algorithm and all that good stuff. So definitely, man, make sure that you hit like, share the video, and we definitely got to get as many as subscribers as possible. I got so many great things, great ideas that's in my mind about the future of the channel and where we're going. Eventually I want to get to where we are doing build. I got monthly build videos, so every month we'll be doing a build. That's something I want to get to, but we got to grow. We have to get definitely more subscribers, more support. Speaking of support, if you definitely, if you want to support me and help me buy more tech stuff to provide more content to the channel, don't forget to hit the links in the description below for my Cash App, for PayPal, and also for Patreon. You can support me on Patreon. I got to make some updates. I got some updates that's going to be coming with that as well. But we have a giveaway because right now we are currently, as you can see here, we have 1.8. It's pretty much almost 1,900 subscribers. I can remember a year ago, I was definitely trying to get 100 subscribers around the December month of 2018, and now we're coming up on 2,000 subscribers. So if you remember, I said that I was going to be doing a giveaway, and as soon as we hit 2,000 subscribers, can't talk tonight, I will be doing a giveaway. And this right here is the Fire Stick TV, and I actually have two of these. So if you can see these, I got holding these up right now. These are the 1080p. This is the second generation, but these are brand new in the box. I will be giving these away to random. You have to be a subscriber to the channel and follow me on some sort of social media. So that could be Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. But you definitely got to be a subscriber to the channel. But I'm definitely going to be giving these away. So make sure that as soon as we hit 2,000 subscribers, I'll do a video to announce the actual winners. Also, I'm giving away, so we're going to have a total of 3 winners. I'm also giving away an Echo Dot. So, I'm not, of course, this channel is not sponsored by anybody except for Wilcreatives. I sponsor myself. But I definitely appreciate the support that we get across pretty much across the United States and Canada and the UK and everywhere, man. I appreciate the support. We are growing, but I could definitely see us getting into the 6-figure realm, 100,000 plus subscribers, and man, again, monthly build videos. Eventually I want to be giving away computers and all that good stuff, not just around the Thanksgiving or Christmas season, but just throughout the year, man, because it's a lot of people that are just not fortunate enough to build the computers, stuff that we build. So first thing that we got up on the list is the motherboard that I just got in today. Hey, Alex, I appreciate that, man. I see you down in the comments, man, and definitely, man, we're gonna fight for it, and we're gonna do it together, man. We definitely, just like Tech Source, man. I love some of the things that he does with the giveaways and stuff that he does, man. But that's awesome, man. But as you can see here, and hopefully I'm gonna kind of pull this back. So I know it's a little delay, but this is the Asus, and this is the Crosshair 8 Hero Wi-Fi version. And man, this motherboard is freaking phenomenal, and we're going to go over some of the features and everything of this board, man. But I just got this in today. I ordered it over the weekend. I'm getting ready to do this next AMD build, and I've been going back and forth about what all. I'm not gonna see, I gotta get some more camera equipment because I want to get an overhead so you can have the overhead view. So I'm not gonna go into opening this up today. I'll definitely be doing the next build video that I'm going to do with this. It's going to be a full walkthrough. So I'll be kind of doing just like how I built Knight Rider. So if you haven't had a chance to see that, I did, that was my first PC build, was a Knight Rider. I did that early on this year. You could check that out on my channel here up on the playlist. This particular, this video number 2, part 2, I did a full walkthrough of building Knight Rider and stuff like that. So I'm going to actually do the same thing with this computer. I had a couple of people that was asking me about that on this build right here. I did the actual time lapse, and a lot of people like that. But the next video that I'm going to do as far as, the build, it's definitely going to be a walkthrough video because we got some new hardware and stuff like that, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to go through it, and man, we're going to have fun with it, man. But to talk a little bit more, let's slide this over, and to talk a little bit more about this particular motherboard, I'm just going to hit some of the top features. It's an X570 board. So on my last build, I also did an X570 board. I did an MSI Gaming X board. But on this particular build, I'm definitely going to be using it for a couple of things. One, we're going to be doing some testing, some benchmarks. stuff like that. But I'm also going to be using it as a to be rendering out my YouTube videos and editing and stuff like that. So I'm going to be making some changes. Also don't forget, people have access to me pretty much. Now, I'm not going to say 24 hours out the day, but people have access to me a lot on Discord. So the invite link is in the description below. But definitely make sure that you join our Discord. We talk about tech stuff, talk about games and all that different type of stuff, but you can ask me questions. I don't hesitate to respond back. If I don't respond back, we have moderators that's in there. My good man, my good friend, Tyler, he'll definitely respond. He was responding to some stuff today. But yeah, if I don't respond, somebody else will, and I definitely try to get back to you as soon as possible. But join the Discord, man. We talk about a lot of stuff, building up the community and stuff like that. So it's in the description below. But on this particular motherboard, this is one of the best motherboards, X570 boards that you could be able to get. There's like a top 3 that's out there. This is one of them. Also the Gigabyte Aorus Master X570 board. It's a little bit cheaper than this board, but it comes with a little bit more features. I know it comes with like a third NVMe slot. So you could definitely get that too. Are you going to be talking about the 3600? Yes, Jumbo Chicken. I will be talking about the 3600X tonight. And actually, I'll be talking about that when I click over to some of the other tabs here. And just on this board here, it's loaded, man. It comes with, of course, PCIe 4.0, 2.5 gigabit LAN. And it also comes with a 1 gigabit LAN. So it has 2 ports that's on there. Of course, let's see. I'm just going to scroll down to it. It's a beautiful board, man. It does support up to DDR4 4800 plus megahertz overclock memory. USB ports, let's see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I think it comes with a little bit more than that. Give me one second. All right. I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay. So, was that Kyle Casey? Hey, I appreciate that, man. I definitely appreciate the support and love, man. I started off with the Alienware. A lot of people, they have Alienware systems. They are great pre-built, pre-owned systems, and hopefully you get the opportunity to be able to build your first PC one day, because right now is the best time to build. To build right now. The prices are low. The only prices that are high right now is for power supplies, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later too. So this particular board, I think it comes with about 6. I was looking at some of this stuff earlier, man. It has a lot. I think it has a total of maybe about 11 USB ports. It's just a lot of stuff. When we get ready to start the build, I go into depth about a lot of this stuff. But it comes with it's one of the other things I want to talk about. Where is it at? The PCIe slots. The first 2 that's on the board, this is actually designed for dual GPUs. A lot of people don't, and that's just because the slots are reinforced with metal. A lot of games and stuff right now don't support dual GPUs anymore, but there's still some use case out there for it. This comes with the actual start button. Let me see if I click right here. It doesn't say it, but this right here is the actual start button. So this board is made for extreme overclocking, supporting, high RAM frequencies and all that different type of stuff. Multiple fans, has multiple fan headers, which I definitely will be using. and all type of stuff, man. So, oh, here it is right here. The multiple temperature sensors. You got different temperature sensors, the VRM, CPU, and I think these have to deal with the actual for water-based cooling. And then you got the water pump that's also down here. Here are the actual fan headers. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it has a total of 6 fan headers. And also you have the actual AIL pump. So it has a dedicated header just for all-in-one liquid coolers. Let's see. Overview. ASUS has some of the best BIOS. And that could be either near or there. You know, that just depends on who you like the most. I know with Gigabyte just recently updated their BIOS, so it's a little bit better now. But I've heard great things about ASUS, so we're going to definitely check that out when we start overclocking and stuff like that. This is just some more features. Again, I'm not going to go into this stuff because it's a lot. It's a lot that's included with this board. Again, it has great networking. In order to use the 2.5 gigabit LAN, you have to have a 2.5 gigabit router. Storage, of course, I will be picking up a PCIe 4.0 generation drive. So let's actually just get into that. So just so you know, this is the board that I have. I do not recommend this board for people. And the reason being is because it's very expensive. This particular board, it's about $379. The cheapest I've seen this board, I'm just going to click over to Micro Center here. Now, if you have a Micro Center in your area, man, Micro Center is the spot to go to. If you do not have a Micro Center in your area, I'm sorry about that, but Micro Center has some of the best prices. But this particular board, the ASUS Crosshair, that's better, right? ASUS Crosshair 8. Let's see. All right, so this particular board, as you can see right here, it's $379.99. Again, I have specific use cases that I'm going to be doing. Plus, you know, when I buy tech stuff, if you've been following me long enough, you know I like to look at the best. I like to get the best stuff. That's just me. I spend the money on it. I'm gonna have this board for a while, and I said I might as well just get the best because eventually I plan on upgrading the actual processor again and some other stuff. But it's $379. But as you can see here, you can save $20 when you bundle this with an eligible processor. So if I added this to the cart, and then I added something like let's say the 3600X. And okay, I can't add that to the cart because it's sold out. Let's see. Let's put in the 3800X. See what happens. Okay, cool. All right, so the 3800X, if I just add this to the cart, I'm going to show you something what makes Micro Center significant. So the motherboard was $379, but because you bought a processor along with it, it drops the price. So this is pretty much the only company I know that does this. So if you have a Micro Center in the area, definitely check them out, support them, man, because they're great. But you know, just to give you a little bit of background on that, that's why I get a lot of my stuff from Micro Center, because they have great deals. They also price match. So, you know, they're price match against Newegg and Amazon and I think Best Buy as well. They have like a list of stuff. You could Google it. But yeah, they price match, man. So they're only a few stores across the US, but they're awesome, man. So that's the reason. Now, I got my board. I actually got it from Amazon. Got it from a good deal. I was doing some other stuff and I just ordered it. I didn't wait because I was buying my processor separate. I'm going to get my processor from Micro Center. But you know, that it is what it is right there. So getting into the actual build. So if you were following me in Discord, yeah, man, Sadesh, yeah, Micro Center is the bomb, man. But if you was following me in Discord, I put a couple of screenshots out talking about, what my next build was going to be. And I just want to talk through a couple of things. This is just what I'm going to personally do for myself. And I will start from the top, and we're going to start. And now, this particular website is PC Part Picker. If you're not familiar with them, get familiar with them, man, because PC Part Picker will let you know if there are some incompatibilities with the system that you're building. So sometimes you may have some issues between the processor and the motherboard, or maybe the memory type, or maybe the actual case doesn't match the motherboard. Definitely PC Part Picker will let you know. Also let you know whether or not you have enough wattage for your system, for your power supply, and all that good stuff. But we're going to look at pretty much two different systems. We're going to look at the one that I'm going to build for myself, and then we're going to look at another one for the 3600X. So this particular build here, again, I'll let you know what I'm going to be using it for. So starting off with the actual processor, we got the Ryzen 7 3800X. The base clock speed on here is 3.9 gigahertz, and it's 8 cores, 16 threads. Now, let me let you know something significant about this. It's one of the fastest gaming chips that you could be able to get right now, but it's also made for multitasking, video editing, streaming, and stuff like that as well. And again, I'm going to be using my system for video editing, which is why I'm going for the 3800X instead of the 3600X. Now, if you wanted to, I'm going to make a couple of changes here after I go through this list for what I would pretty much recommend just for gaming. We have the CPU cooler, the NZXT Kraken X62 CPU cooler. This is a 280 millimeter cooler, and this is definitely overkill for the 3800X. You can actually get by with maybe a 240, even a air cooler that you could be able to get by with cooling this. But I plan on getting the Ryzen 9 3950X. I was trying to get one when it launched on the 25th, but man, that chip is nowhere to be found right now. So in a couple of more months, it should become more available. And the 3950X is a 16 core, 32 thread chip, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. So in the meantime, I am going to get the 3800X. So it's going to be great for gaming, but also great for multitasking and video editing and stuff like that. So the NZXT Kraken X62 280 millimeter cooler. We talked about the motherboard already. Now, this time around, even when I built Knight Rider, I did not get the RGB RAM, but we're going to get some this time. So I'm going with the G-Skill Trident Z Neo. 16 gigabyte. It's two 8 gigabyte chips. It's DDR4 3600 megahertz memory. This is the sweet spot for Ryzen. As far as speed, Ryzen likes a lot of speed, so we definitely gonna, this is the great speed for the buck, because you definitely have RAM chips that go way above this. But the 3600 megahertz is great for the amount of money that you're spending versus the actual performance that you'll get from it. So we're gonna go with that. And later on down the road, I definitely add on another 16 gigs, so it'll be a total of 32 gigabytes. This particular NVMe drive that we're going to start off with storage. Now, 500 gigabytes is not a lot, but it's PCIe 4.0. And this particular drive, actually, for read speeds, it gets up to 5,000 gigabytes per second. And for write speeds, it goes up to 2,500 gigabytes per second. And it's super fast. So I definitely want to test that out. I haven't had a chance to be able to use any type of 4.0 generation PCIe drive. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. That's going to be great for recording 4K footage from gaming. And also, it's going to be great for doing video editing and stuff like that. We have the MSI GTX 1660 Ti. It's a 6 gigabyte chip. This is the Game X from MSI. I chose this card for a couple of reasons. On this particular rig, I'm going to be testing out pretty much 1080p gaming, doing benchmarks and stuff like that for 1080p. Of course, I'm Knight Rider. I have the 2080 Ti, the Gigabyte Oryx Extreme And, you know, of course, that's where I do all of my main gaming at. Also, you know, 4K gaming and stuff like that. I do that on that rig. But on this particular rig, I definitely wanted something that was one that had the new NV ink encoder from NVIDIA. This particular card has it. But also for streaming and stuff like that. But also, it's a great 1080p card. You could definitely get high refresh rates. If you've seen my last build, I didn't have this particular card, but I still had a 1660 Ti from Gigabyte. I was able to get up to 100 FPS ultra settings and the new Modern Warfare Call of Duty. So definitely this card is going to do it, and actually comes with a little bit of extra clock speed to it, but it is great with the fans and cooling and the actual silence. So that's another reason why I was getting that, and that's also another reason why I was going with the liquid cooler, because I did not want to hear the CPU fan. So that was a big pet peeve of mine. Also, and the case that I'm going to go with, now, you know what, I can actually, let me click on this so you can see what the card looks like. So that's what the card looks like. Definitely, it's a cool card, has RGB on it. Let's see, has RGB on the side. And yeah, it's a great card. This particular card, I think we just saw the price. I think it was like $280. Yeah, $289.99. It's a great price on that card. Just so you can see what the Kraken X62 looks like. There's no RGB on the fans, but the actual CPU pump, it has a mirror finish, and the actual lights go around. It's beautiful. I haven't had a chance to use one of these, but I watched so many videos, and I'm definitely looking forward to testing that out and putting that on the CPU. But this case, the NZXT H510 Elite, I got this case for a couple of reasons. I'm getting this case for a couple of reasons. One is that it has 220, it's 120, 100, no, there are 240 millimeter RGB fans that's on the front. And on this case, it has the actual tempered glass on the front and also on the side. There's also a RGB light strip that's at the top. And you pretty much have to add your own fans in the back and also at the top. But I got this case because I've seen some videos on it, and it absolutely looks beautiful. So we are definitely going for aesthetics this time around when it comes to this next build. But it's going to be awesome. So that case normally runs around about $129. And then we got the Corsair RM 750 watt. This is definitely overkill for the system. I could actually, with the system, I could get away with 550 watts, probably even 500 watts, but definitely 550 watts. But I got this because I do not want to have to change my power supply in the future. So I got the 750 watts. So if I ever decided to, I am going to get the 16 core 32 thread, but also if I ever wanted to upgrade my graphics card and stuff like that, I still have more than enough wattage in order to be able to do that, you know, of course, along with some overclocking and stuff like that. So that's the system. That's the build that I'm going to be doing. It's for, you know, it's pretty much a $1,500-$1,600 bill. I wasn't on budget this time for this. I am taking the money that I got from the last build and putting it towards this one, and I'm adding. So the first thing that I got already is the actual motherboard, which is really one of the most expensive things on the list. But the next thing that I'm going to get is probably going to be the case or the graphics card. It's probably what's going to be next on the list. Just never know. But as they come in, I'll definitely be letting you all know. So now, what would I recommend if you were just doing gaming only? So we're going to make a couple of changes here. If you was gaming only, one, I would change the processor. And I would actually go with the 3600X. So let's just find that on the list here. And the great thing about the 3600X is 6 cores, 12 threads. The base clock is 3.8 gigahertz, and that's on all cores. And then I believe it not overclocks, but it boosts up to, I think it's 4.5 gigahertz, if I'm not mistaken. But this is actually a great gaming CPU. It really does. The 9900K really only beats this by a small margin when it comes to just pure gaming. So it has a good amount of cores. It's going to last you a while, and it's only $199, and that's key because the next step up from the 3600X is the 3700X, which is an 8-core chip, but the base clock is 3.6, so it drops down. And the next step beyond that, we just looked at the 3800X, which is 3.9 gigahertz on the base clock. And then, that goes up to 4.5. And so if I were you and I was just getting a gaming PC, you could definitely go with the 3600X. And you wouldn't have any issues. You would be just fine. If you plan on doing some stuff, like, streaming, but really even with this you could stream, because with the NVIDIA encoder for the 1660 Ti, you could pretty much put all of the streaming, encoding and stuff like that on a graphics card, and you could still have your 3600X to be able to play games. So you could be able to stream and play games and all this stuff with no issue. Now if you're talking about recording all at the same time, you may start running into some problems, but that's when I would just pretty much go up to a 3700X or a 3800X right off the back if you plan on doing that. But if you don't plan on doing none of that stuff, 3600X, definitely the way to go. The CPU cooler is definitely overkill. Again, if you want to spend extra money now, you can get it if you plan on upgrading your process later on in the future. Otherwise, you could definitely get something like let's see here. I do not recommend anything below the X62 for NZXT. I do not recommend because they just don't have good, what's the word I'm looking for? There's better stuff out there. If you plan on doing liquid cooling and you want to get something that was probably a little bit cheaper, I would go with Corsair. You could definitely do a Corsair 860 for the 3600X. So you could do that. If you wanted a little bit more RGB and you wanted the double fans, you could go with the Corsair H100i. Or you could do the Corsair H100i. That's 240 millimeters. So you could do that if you wanted to. I would recommend that. And let's see. Austin also came by to say thanks for the award. Great tutorial. Super. Oh man, Austin, I appreciate you, man. Start rising cools are still grass. Yeah. Now okay. So it's funny you brought that up. Elemental. Yes. Now for the 3600X, the stock cooler is fine to get you off the ground. But if you want my personal opinion, I don't recommend it. In the last build that I did, I don't like a whole lot of noise. And so you could try to set the fan profiles and stuff like that and added more fans into that actual build, beyond what you saw in the video, and you could still hear the actual CPU fan kind of rev up and stuff like that. And so for me, that was, it's just something that I didn't want personally for myself. It's fine for most people, but I would recommend that you at least try to get some sort of type of liquid cooler. Worst case scenario, you could get the actual Corsair H60. It works great. I know people who use that on like the 8700K and stuff like that, and it would do just fine. But I would definitely recommend that the whole thing about the liquid cooler is just, one, being able to get great temperatures, but also the actual noise. And so the Corsair H100i or the H115i, which is what I'm cooling my 9900K with, yeah, I would definitely recommend some sort of type of liquid cooling. And, again, if you wanted to go with the minimal, you could choose the Corsair. because these Ryzen chips, they have low TDP. I think on the 3600X, it may be between 65 watts to 95 watts, something like that. But the Corsair H60 will be able to handle it. Of course, the motherboard, if I was choosing this, I wouldn't spend all this money on the motherboard. But let me change this back to the Corsair 100i. I would probably go with at least a minimum 240 millimeter. Just in case you decide to upgrade your CPU in the future, you could definitely have something that could go with you along the way. If I was getting a motherboard, I would actually go with the where is it at? For the motherboard, I would actually go with the Gigabyte Aorus Pro Wi-Fi. That's a good one. Where's the other one? There's only a couple. It's the, I don't see it. Let me type it in. Let's see how much it is. Source X570. Yeah, the 3900X, that's a beast of its own. And I thought about actually getting that chip, but because I want to get the 16-core 3950X, I decided not to spend the extra money on that right now. But one board I do recommend that you can't go wrong with, and it's not too expensive, is the Gigabyte X570 Aorus Ultra. You could go with the Elite or the Pro. Either one of these, they're good. Of course, the Master is good. But if you want like a sweet spot for me, because I have the Z390 Aorus Ultra for my 9900K and it's great. So I would recommend this board here. So it costs a little bit more, but it's definitely going to last you for the long run, especially when you start trying to overclock and stuff like that. May you please see how good the price I choose in Discord and tell me if your opinion, please. Okay, I definitely take a look at that on Discord a little bit later on after the stream. And that's HV Eternity. I got you. Yeah, that's $750 for the 3950X is astronomical, man. But if I had to pick a motherboard, and if I had to tell y'all, what would be good, definitely the X570 Aorus Ultra. I'm definitely going to stick with this type of memory, 3600, and it's only for $94. Definitely stick with that. When it comes to storage, it really just depends upon you. You could do a boot drive, 256 gigabytes, and then you could do maybe like a 2 terabyte. So if you want to play around with PCI, you could definitely get a 500 gigabyte NVMe for cheaper. So like I like the Samsung drives on the 970 Evo. If you know me, I've had those. Oh, okay. HV Eternity, I got you, man. I like the 970 Evos. You could get these pretty cheap. You could do your boot drive as a 970 Evo 500 gigabytes, $79. And then what I would recommend that you do is, for some additional storage, I would recommend that you get like a Samsung 860 Evo minimum, a 1 terabyte drive, or you could do a 2 terabyte drive. But let's just say you're trying to stick to a certain budget, you could do a 1 terabyte drive just for your games. And then the MSI GTX 1660, I would stick with that for 1080p gaming. If you want to get into a high refresh rate, then you could definitely go with a 2060 Super. The 2060 Super is actually getting performance gains for what a 2070 would have been. So that's definitely a great 1440p card, high refresh rate 1080p, definitely a great 1440p card. So, but if you're doing just 1080p, this is a great card to have. Great case. The core, with this, this is totally up to you. Minimum I would probably do is maybe a 650 watt power supply, but the 750 watt, they are all expensive. They're pretty much about, you know, as long as you could go with a 80 plus bronze will be fine. I like to go. Actually, I was picking some stuff out. So let me show you something. Hey, what's up, Clay? What's the difference between the 860 and the 970 for NVMe? All right, so let's just go back up real quick. For the Samsung 860, the 860, that's only for the SATA drives. So the maximum speed is about 550, 560 megabytes per second. On the NVMe, Samsung started with the 960, and then you got the 970, and now they have like the 970 plus, the 970 Evo plus. So just know that if you see 970 Evo, that's NVMe. If you see 860 Evo, that's still the actual SATA drive. So it's still SSD, but it's on a SATA, which maxes out at about 550 megabytes per second. So that's the difference in between those two. Again, you can use this for your boot drive, super fast. You can use this for your games, super fast loading times. That's pretty much kind of like the best way to go. They have some NVMe drives that go up to 2 terabytes for about $200. You could get those, but once they start to fill up, the drive starts to slow down. So I don't know if that's the best thing. I'll actually go with this. The speeds, no matter how much you fill this drive up, the speeds pretty much kind of stay the same. That's just a testament to Samsung. They make great drives. But it's something I want to show you, the reason why I use PC Part Picker. I chose a different power supply earlier, but it told me, because like when you scroll down here and it has compatibility notes, this will pretty much let you know if you had any compatibility issues. So I try to go for a cheaper drive, and I'm going to show you what's going to happen. I'm going to X this out, and I'm going to choose a power supply, and I'm going to choose something like I think I was trying to do, I think maybe it was this one. Let's try this one, the Corsair RMX. All right, so now that I chose that, if I scroll, okay, here we go. It says the Gigabyte X570 or its Ultra motherboard has an additional 4-pin ATX power connector, but the Corsair RMX power supply does not have that extra 4-pin connector. So for the most part, it's not a big deal. You could just go with the 8-pin connector for the CPU. In terms of the motherboard, but if you're going to be doing, you're going to be using all NVMe drives, you got a high current video card, maybe like a 2080 Super, 2080 Ti, uses a lot of wattage, you will probably need to plug in that extra 4-pin connector, because a lot of this stuff uses the PCIe lanes and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons why you would need that. Otherwise, you would be good. You could still use this power supply with no issue. But if just looking at this particular bill, we're still talking around about $1,400. That's because we added a couple of things here. But a great bill is going to cost you that much. Of course, you can always make some changes. Let's say you may not want this particular case. Another great case that I do know of is the Fractal Design, and I'm still thinking about getting this case. Where is it? Oh, here it is right here. The Fractal Design Meshify C. This is a great case. I actually like this case. It was rated one of the best cases to actually have. It has the smoked out tempered glass. I love this mesh front where air comes directly through, so it's nothing that's blocking the actual airflow. It's a great case to build in. It's also compact, which is another reason why I was going with a couple of these cases. So it's I'm still on the tipping stone whether or not I want to go this route or just get the NZXT H510 Elite. I like the Elite though. If you see some builds with that, it's great. You see some builds with this, that also looks great. So I'm going back and forth between those two. This one is a little bit cheaper though. So this particular case is $99 versus the $129. You can also cut some corners. You may not, let's say you don't need the NVMe. and you just want to start off with a 1 terabyte drive, you could do that too. You could cut some corners on the liquid cooler and stuff like that. So you could always do a couple of things to be able to get the price down. But I just want to let you know, but you know, this is what we're doing, you know, and I'm just going to check a couple of things in the comments here. What's the difference? Let's see. It's $1,000 PC good for, yes. Yeah. The 3600X, you could build that. You could do a great build for $1,000. Let's just say that you didn't want to. We could change this Corsair 100 to the. Let's see. You could do a couple of things. You could do the Dark Rock Pro 4. I don't recommend that because you won't be able to see the actual RGB RAM that you have. But if you wanted to, you could do that to save some money. You could actually do the Corsair H60. Let's just go with this. So if you did that, if you changed the motherboard and let's say you did the actual Elite. So you did the actual Aorus Elite, which is cheaper. Still a great X570 board, and you kept the memory there. You did that, you kept that. Now, boom, you're down to about 1097. And so you could still make some more changes, but you could definitely do $1,000 bill. So to answer your question on that, in terms of yes, you could do that. M.2 drives are becoming the standard. More as time goes on, AMD's new processors help with PCIe. Yes, they do help. You get a little bit more PCIe lanes with the X570 boards. So than you do with the Intel. So that's something new. That's the thing about new architecture. You could definitely get a little bit more actually for a cheaper price to get better performance. I heard the H500 Elite is better than the H510 Elite because of the price difference between the two. Yeah, the biggest difference with the H510 Elite is the actual tempered glass on the front. That's pretty much it. The tempered glass on the front it does set itself apart from the actual its predecessor. Yes, Be Quiet makes some good air coolers. The only thing about it is that they're so big that if you plan on kind of like showing off your system, you got the tempered glass and you want to be able to see your RGB RAM, then you're not going to see it with the Be Quiet coolers. So, yeah, what do you prefer, Ryzen or Intel on CPUs? At this point, because I'm making some changes, I definitely recommend Ryzen. Now, which CPUs over the other? Like currently right now in my Knight Rider system, I have the 9900K. And that really is the fastest gaming CPU you could buy right now. And that's because you can overclock it to 5 gigahertz on all cores and all that different types of stuff. But because no one just pretty much games on that computer, you do other stuff, you can actually get close to the same performance with a 3800X, which is what I'm going to put into my new build. So the 3800X will give you pretty much the same performance that you could be able to get out of a 9900K, but you're getting it for, $100 some bucks cheaper. And you're going to get newer technology. So now anything above that, I recommend Ryzen all the way. The 3900X. So if you're really heavy into animating, video editing, stuff like that, that's 12 cores, 24 threads. And then of course the top of the line, the creme de la creme, the 3950X, when I get my hands on it, you're going to see exactly what we're talking about. And not only is it, one of the best chips that you could be able to get for the price, 16 cores, $750. You could definitely do that. But also, not all games, but a lot of the games, it's either matching the 9900K or it's beating it. So there's only a few games out there like Far Cry 5 and some other stuff where AMD just doesn't do too well. But in a lot of other games, the 3950X is one of the highest band chips that AMD is making right now. for the desktop. Of course, their new thread rippers are taking stuff to like a whole nother level, but that's the high end desktop stuff. And I hope to get one of those one day as well. But those things are super expensive, man. The thread rippers start off at $1,400, and yeah, that's in a whole nother playing field by itself. And the motherboards for the thread rippers start off for like $500-$600, so it's crazy. But yeah, I plan on getting a 3950X in the next couple of months. I'm gonna start off with the 3800X, but we're gonna upgrade, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, if you don't have any more questions, I definitely read off some more questions that's down in the comments. And then after that, we're going to call it a night. We're coming up on an hour. It's 10:55. So I got a question from Clay. So, Eternity, I hope that answers your question, Clay. See, I have the RTX 2080, and I was wondering if it would be worth the money to upgrade now to a 2080 Ti, or should I wait till the next generation? If you have a RTX 2080, I will wait. Because NVIDIA is going to be announcing their new cards. They say the first half of 2020. That could be March, that could be April, or it could be June. But I will actually wait, because with that particular card, you're getting high refresh rates on 1440p. And you could do a little bit of 4K gaming, and so you're good right now. Really, I wouldn't waste the money. It'd be a waste of money to upgrade from the 2080. If you haven't purchased a car right now, the car that I would personally buy would be a 2080 Super, RTX 2080 Super. If you got $700 and you could do it, that'd be the way to go. If not, get the 2070 Super. If you want to be able to do high refresh rate gaming when it comes to 1440p. If you're at 1080p, the highest I would go is a 2060 Super for 1080p gaming. If you never plan on going to 1440p, get the 2060 Super, keep it moving. What CPUs and video cards help you get above 240 frames per second on Fortnite under $1,000 bill? For under $1,000, you still can't go wrong with a 3600X. You're going to be fine with that. It's really what's going to bottleneck you is the actual graphics card. You're pretty much going to need a 2060 Super. Now, to get 240 frames per second, I'm sorry to say this, but you're probably going to need a 2080 Super or above. I do know that if you make some changes to some of the graphical settings to maybe low, medium at 1080p, you may be able to get up to 240 with maybe a 2060 Super or a 2070 Super. But for the most part, if you're trying to keep the graphic settings up, you're definitely going to need a 2080 Super or a 2080 Ti when you're talking about the consistent 240 frames per second. Yeah, you're not going to be able to do that with a $1,000 bill. Again, unless you're trying to drop the actual graphical settings down to, you would pretty much have to drop that down to low or medium. And don't know if you want to game like that, but if you're doing competitive gaming, then that may not bother you. Surly Studios, you are my hero. Hey, I appreciate that. I do not take that for granted. I definitely appreciate the support and the help and everything that you all do. Again, don't forget to follow me on all forms of social media. We're going to go ahead and call it a night. We got in this AMD build that's coming. You seeing what I'm doing? I kind of laid out everything out there on the line. Again, follow me on the Discord. The actual invite link is in the description below. Don't forget, once we hit 2,000 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away the Echo Dot and also the Fire Sticks, and it's going to be 3 different winners. So pretty much 3 people could be able to win these items. And also, you got to be following me, be subscribed to the channel. Oh, when am I going to stream again? Is actually going to be tomorrow night. So I know I did a stream tonight. We're kind of changing up the flow this week. I'm going to be doing some gaming. I haven't been able to play Modern Warfare, so we definitely going to be doing some multiplayer on that tomorrow night if you want to catch out the stream. So definitely, I'll be doing that tomorrow night, same time, 10 p.m. And then Thursday will be my regular upload. I'm not for sure what I'm going to do just yet, so just stay tuned. Make sure that you stay subscribed. And again, I'm on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. That's at Wilcreatives. And so tomorrow night I will be live streaming Modern Warfare. They got some new modes and stuff like that we're going to be checking out and seeing how they work. But man, I can't wait. I'm super excited about this next build that I'm going to be doing. It's going to be epic. It's going to be phenomenal. And we got a ton of more content that's going to be coming on the channel. And man, I see y'all in the next video.